Alrighty, so first of all, I do apologize that this review is a little bit late. I've been busy these last couple of days, that's why I haven't been able to do the review. But as always, we're going to first look at the first 8 games, including the free Saturday matinee games that happened, and then the rest of the early Saturday night game. And then for part two, we're going to look at the later Saturday night game, and then of course look at the Sunday games that happened yesterday as well, though that is going to be tomorrow's video as well. But in terms of this match week, well, we definitely saw a couple of teams that desperately need a win and a must-win situation in terms of the playoff race. Got that. Some, of course, didn't. And we also saw the end of a streak as well as in this game between NYCFC versus Charlotte. So coming into this game, Charlotte was looking to break the record for the longest winning streak we have ever seen in the post shootout era. They were tied with the Seattle Sounders in terms of 9 wins in a row that the Sounders did in 2018. And unfortunately, that streak has officially come to an end. And you kind of had a sense that it could come to an end because, again, for NYCFC, I don't know why this is the case for them this season, but for whatever reason, when they do face against some good opponent, and when you are facing against this NYCFC team and you have a good record, yeah, things are not going to go well for you because NYCFC has had a knack this season in terms of being the spoiler in terms of ending streaks and ending the narrative as well. And they did it again, putting to the end of Charlotte 9 game winning streak. And this was probably the worst that Charlotte have played in quite some while as well. Now, in the first half, the first shot of the game did see Kalina deny Martinez from close before Freeze tipped Zaha shot over the bar, but then a penalty was given to NYCFC. Kalina brought down Pereira in the box, and as good as Kalina has been throughout this winning streak that they've been on, yeah, I kind of feel like he was back to his early season form in this one. In fact, pretty much in this entire game for Charlotte, it feels like they were back in their midsummer form where they were a pretty bad team. But nevertheless, as I said, penalty was given to NYCFC. Alonso Martinez steps up to take the penalty. You know he doesn't usually miss from the spot, and he doesn't here, so he give NYCFC a 1-0 lead. We then go for a period. Not much happened in this one, and the fact that we actually got a pretty good start to this game is considered good. Considered, like I said, this not only was a matinee game, this was the earliest kickoff we have had this season at noon kickoff in terms of the East Coast. You usually don't get that kind of kickoff time that happened. But nevertheless, Martinez would put it high from long range before Kalina denied 0-2 from close as NYCFC was pushing for another before halftime. But we do head to halftime with the host leading 1-0 against Charlotte. But in the second half, they got another penalty. This time they go to VAR to see whether or not it took a Monty handball in the box, and he did. So here comes Alonso Martinez again back to the spot to try to convert for the second time. And again, usually doesn't miss from the spot, and he doesn't miss it here either. So just like that, it's 2-0 in favor of NYCFC. But then 11 minutes later, Charlotte get themselves a penalty as Zaha was brought down by Tavon Gray here. So here comes Zaha, a chance to convert from the spot. Zaha usually doesn't miss from the spot either. He did in this moment as Matt Freese denied him from the spot. So there was 3 penalties that was awarded in this game. That is something you usually don't see happen in a single MLS game that is. But nevertheless, the difference in this one was that NYCFC was more clinical in terms of the PK spot, and Charlotte had a chance to get themselves one back. Didn't quite do so, so the lead was still at 2-0. Martinez would then puts it wide from long range before Gustavo would heads it wide from the corner as NYCFC was looking to put this game out of reach. You're expecting maybe there was going to be some pushback for Charlotte, but like I said, they just never really kind of showed this pushback throughout this game. Ojeda would then puts it over from close range, and that was it. I mean, NYCFC was pretty easy for them to close out this one. They end Charlotte 9 game winning streak, which I'll definitely do a video talking about that. Though, I'm a little bit backlogged when it comes to some of the videos that I'm looking to do because I got to do some moving forward series with a couple of teams. Also got eliminated from this weekend and past as well. But there's no doubt I'm going to look into Charlotte winning streak, and it's kind of good the fact that I'm actually doing it after the winning streak is over because imagine if I did it before for this game. I think Charlotte fans will be very mad at me because I just jinxed them in terms of making a video talk about their 9 game winning streak. But alas, the winning streak does come to an end in this one with 2-0 loss. Shots in this one, 15 shots for the 6 that Charlotte has, 2 shots on goal for the 5 that NYCFC had, 1 shots off target for the 4 that NYCFC had, 6 shots that was blocked for the 2 that Charlotte has, and possession-wise, 57% possession compared to 43% possession that NYCFC has in this game. And as it sucks as it is for Charlotte in terms of seeing their winning streak comes to an end, this is a good alert learning experience. Again, we know that you eventually is going to lose a game. I mean, as the old saying goes, all good things has to come to an end, and it finally come to an end. And now it's going to be interesting to see how Dean Smith's side will respond, because there's one thing to have a long winning streak come to an end, but now you need to respond to make sure that, yeah, this is just kind of one of those bad performances. Again, the kickoff doesn't really help their cause. I mean, a noon kickoff and playing at a baseball stadium as well, that kind of play a little disadvantage to Charlotte, but it'll be interesting to see whether they'll respond well in the next game, because if they do, they're still a contender in the Conference. Speaking of contender in the Eastern Conference, could you say that maybe NYCFC might be a dark horse? Because again, this season, for whatever reason, when they do face against good team, especially at home this season, they win against them. Now, I'm not quite sure if they're going to get home field advantage. They're currently actually fourth in the Eastern Conference, so they're definitely rising up in the East. Although a couple of teams does have a couple of games in him. I think the team below them, Miami, has a couple of games in him, so most likely they're going to get past because of it. But there's no doubt that this is an NYCFC team. This is going to be a tough customer to play. They're definitely a dark horse team. They're definitely a team that it feels like Pascal Janssen has finally figured things out. It feels like these youngsters, for once, finally show some consistency, and now they're definitely heading into the playoffs in a good run of form. Again, when you head into the playoffs and you're in a good run of form, chances are not, even if you're a lower seed, there could be things you could definitely make some noise, and that's why I always vote with the word dark horses, because these are usually teams that get their acts together near the end of the season, go on a bit of a run, and really look to carry that momentum into the playoffs as well. Now, moving on, in terms of the next match, is New England and the Union. So the Union, of course, they remain at the top of the Supporter Shield standing after this weekend as well. But it was not easy in this one against New England. But I will say that if you're a Union fan, you would take this. I mean, honestly, with how bad things have gone in the last two games, with them losing 7-0 to Vancouver and then follow up with a 3-1 loss against Nashville to get knocked down in the semifinal, they needed this one badly against New England, but it wasn't easy though, I will say. In the first half, Oyof would put it wide, as that was the game's first shot, and then Ceballos would head it wide from close range. New England definitely started the better side, and we're looking for the opener early in this one. We then go for a pair where not much really happened, as the shots were still 2-0, 34 minutes in. So again, when the case of matinee games, and since it's been a while since we have a matinee game, I think teams are not used to playing so early in the day, and especially playing in the sunshine as well. So maybe kind of really froze up their rhythm, in terms of the fact that we have so many 7:30 game. We kind of get into that match day rhythm, and then just randomly now we're back to a 2:30 start like this one. But in the 35th minute, Langoni would puts it over from close. But then the 38th minute, Turner absolutely robbed Westfield from point blank range. That was actually the first shot for the Union as well. The Union was definitely sleeping in this one, and again, they have not been in a good run of form, at least in the last two games. So not surprised that they didn't really show up for this game until relatively late. Vasilev would then hits it right to Turner, as the Union seems like they finally woke up and realized that, yeah, the game has already started. Now they're started to look to try to get the opener after not starting on time for this matinee match. Maribo would then puts it high from close range, but we do head to halftime scoreless between the Union and the Revs. In the second half, Glesnes would puts it just wide from long range before a fine goal puts it into the side netting on the free kick. There was a couple of half chances for both of these teams, but no real breakthrough either for both of these teams in the second half. Not much chances either create in the second half. Well, that all changed in the 71st minute, as Diamani would score from Iloski and Westfield to make it 1-0 in favor of Union. That's got to be big for Bruno Diamani. It's been a rough season for him in terms of not living up to potential at time, but here, with a big goal here to give the Union a 1-0 lead, and they got a big boost after too, because Peyton Miller would get himself sent off in this one, and yeah, this was just a rush of blood. And this can happen to youngsters as well. Maybe the maturity issue could be a thing that Peyton Miller would want to learn, because there was just absolutely no need for him to intentionally fruit the ball to a Union player. Anytime when you decided to do that, it's a violent contact every single time. So rightfully so. New England were down to 10 men. Iloski would then puts it wide from close before Turner denied Sullivan from close range. The Union were looking to put this one away, but the question is, can they be able to do so? Because it's still only 1-0, and just because New England is down to 10 men, we've seen before that this has happened before, where teams only keep this at 1-0. It could come back to haunt them. It only took one chance for the Revs to tie this game up, and they had that chance, because after Yoloski puts it wide from long range in the second minute of stoppage time, Blake absolutely Sean Kalai from close range in the second minute, and it also came off of a WTF turnover for the Union as well. They got away with that one. They can definitely thank Andre Blake in terms of saving them in a big way. But yeah, in the end, the Union they do get the 1-0 win in this one, and I believe they also extended their supporter shield standing race because the team that is right behind them, as I mentioned, dropped points this weekend. Shots in this one, 15 shots for the 9 that New England has, 1 shots on goal for the 4 that the Union has, 5 shots off target for the 6 that the Union has, 5 shots out of block for the 1 that New England has, and possession-wise, 51% possession compared to the 49% possession that New England has in this game. And with this loss, New England is officially eliminated from the playoffs, and they didn't get the new interim head coach boost that they were hoping for. I mean, it was kind of a typical New England performance. They had some moments, but finishing has been a big problem for this team, and the inability to finish is kind of the reason why they end up losing again in this one. Now, moving on in terms of the next match is Atlanta and San Diego. And, I said this before about San Diego, as much as they're in first place right now, and I believe they have now officially broke the record for the most point in expansion side has ever had. I might be mistaken. I think they might be tied with that record. There's got to be some concern, I think, if you're a San Diego fans. And I've said this about how, well, yes, have been able to still get some wins, and big part of that is because Andre Dreyer is basically carrying this team on his back, and once again he scored in this one. The big concern is the fact that nobody else besides Dreyer can score for this team, and the goal scoring has really dried up for this team. I mean, they have not scored more than 2 goals in quite some while. And then on top of that, it feels like now they have a goalkeeping problem because CJ Dos Santos, man, he has been a liability. It just feels like he has not been the same ever since he went down with that concussion injury. Now, in the first half, it was a snooze fest for the first 17 minutes of this game. And I also don't want to kind of make the comparison about San Diego as the same as what we saw with St. Louis in their first season, where they kind of became a little mediocre down the stretch, but they still finished first because the West was so bad. And most likely San Diego could potentially do so, though, again, Vancouver, they are right behind them right now, and I think they're close in the gap enough where they actually could overtake them because Vancouver does have a game in hand over San Diego. But yeah, like I said, there's got to be some concern about San Diego with the way that they haven't really looked good in terms of some of these games, especially the attack has really sputtered for this team. But Amador with the game's first shot, but he puts it wide, and then Almiron thought he put the ball into the back net to give Atlanta a 1-0 lead. The problem was the flag came up for offside, so it didn't count. No doubt Atlanta started getting some momentum and we're looking for the opener. And for the most part, Atlanta played very well in this one. And that's got to frustrate Atlanta fans because they're probably asking, where has this been for the whole season? Lozano with San Diego's first shot, but he missed wide from long range. But then on the second shot of the game, it's in the back of the net. As Anders Schreier, he scored from Lozano to give San Diego a 1-0 lead. And it was an absolute gift, too. I mean, just a WTF turnover from Atlanta. Typical of how things have gone this season, and rightfully was punished. TRA did look to respond, but he was denied by Dos Santos on the header, and then Almiron had a shot that was clear off the line. And this came after Dos Santos just tried to punch this one away, and he didn't do a good job of it, and he was nearly made to pay because it kind of hit right to Almiron. He had an empty net there, but somehow some heroic clearance off the line. I think it was Patty McNair, the one that cleared the ball off the line for San Diego to keep the away side a 1-0 lead. TRA would then puts it right to Dos Santos. Atlanta was pressing hard to try to get the equalizer late. Zade would then puts it high from long range in the second minute of stoppage time, but we do head to halftime with San Diego surviving that pressure to go up 1-0 heading into the second half. Unfortunately for San Diego, Atlanta continued to press in the second half. It started with Dos Santos denying TRA from close in the 47, and then TRA missed wide from close range. Atlanta kind of picked up where they left off. They would continue to press hard to get the equalizer. Dos Santos would then deny Lop Janice from point blank, and then the post would deny Almiron from long range in the 57 minutes. So you're thinking maybe this is one of those days again for Atlanta. No matter how good they look on the attack, they can't finish to save their lives. That's kind of how it is with teams that near the bottom of the East, but they got a break in the 60th minute as a penalty was given to Atlanta as Dos Santos brought down TRA in the box there, and Almiron was able to bury the penalty in the 61st minute. But that is one that I think Dos Santos probably should have done better. I mean, it wasn't really the best penalty from Almiron. I think Dos Santos kind of got a hand to that one, and yeah, again, just that just kind of sums up the last couple of games for CJ Dos Santos. Ever since he's came back from that concussion injury, he has just not looked the same goalkeeper. He has made a lot of mistakes for this team, and for a team that already cannot score a lot of goals, and the goals are starting to kind of dried up. Yeah, I don't blame a lot of San Diego fans want Ciciaga to be the starter and basically bench CJ Dos Santos, because there's been times this season and really these last couple of games where Dos Santos has really cost this team goals let right and center because of his mistake. And here it is, making mistake in terms of so giving up the penalty, and then one that looks like it was a very savable penalty, couldn't quite keep it out, and just like that, it was all level at one apiece. TRA would then heads it over from the corner in the 67th minute. Atlanta had all the momentum now. Now they were pressing to try to get the lead. Though Dreyer did try to go for Olympico, and it was swatted away by Hebert before Hebert denied Lozano from the header. So yeah, Jaden Hebert, he said, "Don't forget about me. I'm gonna make some big save too." I think it's clear to say that he is definitely going to be the replacement for Brad Guzan. And who would have thought that this youngster, this homegrown player, would be actually now in the hair of Brad Guzan, because he's been having a heck of a start to his career with Atlanta, and there's no doubt he's going to be a starter for this team heading into next season as well. So there is some positive, at least for Atlanta, that it feels like they finally found who is going to be the hair for Brad Guzan in that number one spot. But there was no doubt that San Diego just realized that, yeah, they are first in the West. I mean, throughout this game, they pretty much just sleepwalk. I mean, I think they kind of forgot that, yeah, they're first in the West for a reason. Now they were trying to get the lead back. Heber would then deny Dreyer from long range, and then he denied Dreyer again in the third minute of stoppage time. So Jaden Heber making some big save in this one to keep this at 1-1, and that would be the final score of this game. Shots in this one, 17 shots for the 7 that San Diego has, 5 shots on goal for the 6 that Atlanta has, 5 shots off target with the 2 that San Diego has, no shots on block with the 6 that Atlanta has, and possession-wise, 61% possession compared to 39% possession that Atlanta has in this game. And like I said, for San Diego, there has to be some alarm bells that is ringing with this team in terms of the lack of goal scoring. And as I said before, as long as you can contain Anders Schar, I mean, you don't have to just completely stop him, because he's been absolutely unstoppable this season and potentially could win the MVP this year. But at least if you can contain him, maybe just to one goal or whatsoever, you still have a chance to get something out of San Diego, because Dos Santos making mistake left by a standard costing his team. There's always a chance that that is the case. And again, for San Diego, as great as this season is, I just fear that they're started to kind of head into the same direction as what St. Louis did in their first season, where things kind of started to become mediocre and started to not look like what they were in the beginning of the season, and then it was a first round exit. So yeah, for San Diego, they better hope they not face against a big California rivalry in their playoff game, because yeah, again, you know, I think whatever happens, it's been an incredible full season that this team has had, but there's no doubt that heading into the offseason, the number one thing that they're gonna have to address is got to be the scoring, and also the goalkeeping. Well, I would say the goalkeeping, you probably give Siaga a chance maybe for the rest of the season, but the goal scoring is definitely going to be something that they will need to do. And this is also what where again, that mistake of letting go Milan Iloski to the Philadelphia Union, or terminate his contract, that is, before he joined the Union as well. That mistake is really paying heavily, or really painted heavily, of why San Diego has really struggled when it comes to the goal score department lately. Now, moving on, in terms of the next match, and the last match on this board is Orlando and Nashville. And boy, did Orlando needed this one. I mean, things were not looking good for the Lions lately with their struggle bus. And, things look like it was going to be bad again in this one. I mean, they had a 2-0 lead in this one, only to throw it away. But Duncan McGuire comes to the rescue in this one. But in the first half, Pasalic with the game's first shot, but he was denied by Willis. Orlando was definitely on the front foot, as they had the shots advantage. Only 2-0 20 minutes in, but in the 30th minute, they would score, as Martin Ojeda once again making his case in terms of the MVP race as well. A wonderful free kick that he scored here to give Orlando a 1-0 lead, and he loves scoring so much that he did it again just 80 seconds later, as he scored this time from Smith and Muriel to give Orlando a 2-0 lead. Mukhtar did look to respond, but he was denied by Galese. But just 1 minute later, he would score here. And what a concentration that is for Hani Mukhtar, with the way that he struck the post. Anytime when you have a player that struck the post, it's easy to kind of switch off, because you know you miss a big opportunity. But here, good job there from Mukhtar to follow that up on the rebound and basically puts it into the empty net. And just like that, it was 2-1 in this one heading into the second half. And that goal was huge for Nashville. They're believed to try to come back because in the 51st minute, they would tie the game up. It's Jacob Schaffelberg. He scored from Lovitz and Surridge to tie the game up at 2 apiece. Surridge then looked for the lead, but he missed one in the 53rd minute. Yeah, that is one that Sam Surridge would want to have back. Fresh off of a midweek game where he scored a hat trick in that semifinal. That is one that you would expect him to score, especially having a free header like that. But there was no doubt the momentum was with Nashville. They were looking to try to get at the lead. Ojeda would then puts it wide from close before Galese denied Mukhtar from close. Schaffelberg then hits it right to Galese in the 61st before Willis denied Angulo, who was in on goal here. Just had a feeling that this game started to become a bit on the knife edge. Both of these teams have some chances if it started to really open up as well. In the 69th minute, Maguire would miss wide from close before Paslic would miss wide from long range, as it seems like Orlando now started to have some sustained pressure. And this is where, for Nashville, again, playing that midweek game and that intense midweek game against the Union, while they got a big win in that one, you can definitely see tire legs was started to become a problem for this Nashville team. They were started to hang on for a bit, and it looked like they did enough to hang on for a 2-2 draw. But then in the 5th minute of stoppage time, Big Dunk comes to the rescue as Duncan McGuire would score from Spicer to give Orlando a 3-2 lead. It's been a long time since Duncan McGuire has scored. Obviously, it's kind of unfortunate what has happened to Duncan McGuire. He's been battling some injuries and also was trying to get himself back into the 11. It's kind of hard to do so when Muriel and Enrique has done so well. He's been kind of buried in the depth chart, but here he comes up big off the bench here to give Orlando City a 3-2 lead. But then in the 7th minute of stoppage time, Nashville had a chance to tie it, and it comes in probably the most unlikeliest player to score this one. And we almost had a moment where I have not seen this happen in a very long time, and that is a goalkeeper scoring a goal late in the game as Joe Willis came up to take or came up in the box as the corner was delivered into the box, and he had a free header there from the corner as well from Mukhtar delivery. He hits it right to Galese. Yeah, that is one that I know it is very rare you see goalkeepers get the chance. It would be a miracle the fact that a goalkeeper would get a chance like that, but that is one that if you're Joe Willis, I know his eyes must have lighted up when the ball was coming toward him, but that is one that he would love to have a redo because again, from a free header like that, and I know it's a goalkeeper, and you don't expect goalkeeper to even make some free header score, but that is one that like I said, he probably could have definitely done much better. And if that one went in, what a story that would have been in terms of the league. It's been a long time since we have seen a goalkeeper score in this league. Obviously, it doesn't happen often. It is very rare to do so, but we almost saw it here. And for Orlando, huge sigh of relief because yeah, I know no he's a goalkeeper, but you still got to mark him because if you don't mark a goalkeeper, we've seen before where times where a goalkeeper can do some heroic in this game. But Orlando does get the 3-2 win in this one, a much needed 3-2 win as well. Shots in this one, 14 shots for the 8 that Nashville has. Both teams had 6 shots on goal, 6 shots off target for the 1 that Nashville has. No shots was blocked for the 2 that Orlando has. And possession-wise, 58% possession compared to 42% possession that Orlando City has in this game. And I believe Nashville has started to kind of struggle a little bit lately. And I, I know part of that is because playing the U.S. Open come in the middle of the week, it's very hard to trying to come back, especially having that huge moment in that game, and you kind of expect that they were kind of having a little bit of letdown this one, but I still think it was a good performance nevertheless for Nashville again to come back from 2-0 down just to shows you the character of this team. And again, if Willis would have hit that one away, what a storyline that would have been in terms of this week. But that being said, I am now going to switch boards and look at the last 4 games to finish up the first part of the review of match week number 35. All right, so moving on, we got Montreal versus the New York Red Bulls, and this was virtually a must-win for the New York Red Bulls against a lowly Montreal side, and with the playoff lives are pretty much in the balance heading into this final month. They had to win this one on the road and finally get their second road win of the season, and they do exactly that, though it was not easy. Montreal definitely had their moments in this one, and if this was a more clinical Montreal side, things probably could have been a little different in this game. Now, in the first half, Sunchuk would cross it wide from long range as the shots were 3-1 for Montreal early, but on the second shot for the Red Bulls, in the back of the net as Tim Parker scored his first goal since coming back from the Red Bulls from Duncan and Frostberg to give the Red Bulls a 1-0 lead, and a bit of a nostalgia goal there for the Red Bulls as well, because we've seen before where Tim Parker has been able to score on those header when he was with the Red Bulls in his first stint, and yeah, it kind of brings back memories if you're a Red Bulls fan seeing that happen. But nevertheless, a crucial 1-0 win early in this one. Sunchuk did look to respond, but he was denied by Cornell. But then in the 29th minute, the Red Bulls take a 2-0 lead as Choupo-Moting would score to double the lead for the Red Bulls. Petrasso looked to answer, but he hits it right to Cornell. Cornell was big in this game for the Red Bulls. Duncan would then puts it over from close in the 37th minute. This game was very open, and I don't think that is something that the Red Bulls want to do, especially with the way that they're leading. Usually, when you're leading and you're the away team, you do not want to see a game that is very open, especially early in this one. The post would deny Morales of a shot cross in the 39th minute before Owusu would head it wide from the corner as Montreal would now pressing hard to try to get one back. Jaime would hit one right to Cornell before he denied Jaime in the near post in the second minute of stoppage time, Cornell that is. And despite all the pressure that Montreal has had in the moments that they had, it was a 2-0 lead for the New York Red Bulls. The second half, Piet hits one right to Cornell in the 53rd minute before Owusu would puts it over from close range. Montreal kind of picked up where they left off, continued to press to try to get one back. Forsberg with a rare Red Bull chance, but he hits this one high. Up to this point, the Red Bulls didn't had a lot of chance, but that was going to change. It feels like the Red Bulls wanted to make this 3-0 and make it comfortable. Julia would then deny Duncan from long range, but then it falls right back or falls right to Hall here, who just hits this one right to Julia in the back post. Jaime would then miss wide from close before Carmona would hit it right to Julia in the 84th minute, and then he tips Sofo's shot from close range in the 85th minute over. The Red Bulls, they were definitely pressing to try to get this third goal and trying to get this one away in terms of a must-win game for them. Nealis then heads it right to Gillier, but then in the 90th minute, Cornell was able to deny Owusu, who was on the doorstep of goal. So despite giving up a lot of shots in this game, a lot of chances for for Montreal to win this one, or even get themselves a equalizer, or even get a goal or so, Red Bulls does get the much needed win in this one. Shots in this one, 19 shots for the 12 that the Red Bulls had, 5 shots on goal for the 6 that Montreal has, 3 shots off target for the 6 that Montreal has, 5 shots that was blocked for the 4 that the Red Bulls had, and possession wise, 53% possession compared to 47% possession the Red Bulls has in this game. So the good news for the Red Bulls, they do get a much needed win in this one, especially a road win, which is a very rare thing. This is only their second road win throughout this season. But the bad news is, as we'll talk in a bit, Chicago also won in the game, so they didn't really make up any ground. I mean, they at least put a little bit pressure on Chicago, but yeah, they're still in a very tough situation where even though they're 2 points out of Chicago, the Fire does have a game in hand. So yeah, the Red Bulls, they would need a lot of help. They are pretty much going to be rooting for whoever facing against the Chicago Fire from now on, and they themselves also need to continue to win games so that they want to make sure their playoff streak doesn't come to an end this year. Now, moving on in terms of the next match, it is Miami and DC. So Miami does get the win in this one. I mean, when you have Messi in the lineup, that obviously makes a huge difference. Though in the first 17 minutes, yeah, not much really happened in the first 17 minutes. In fact, the first shot didn't come until the 24th minute, where Cervania would hit one that looked like it was gathered by Ustari, but he spilled this one, and he is very fortunate that when he spilled this one, it goes behind for a corner, because that would have been an absolute howler. And Ustari has had his bad moments throughout the season for Inter Miami, and that was going to be added to the latest list. Would have been an absolute brutal howler on Ostari part. In the 28th minute, Brightwood heads it right to Barraza, as that was Miami's first shot. But then on the second shot for Miami, it's in the back of the net, as Alande would score from Messi to give Miami a 1-0 lead. A pinpoint pass from Messi. We've seen that so long throughout his career, but he sets up Alande, who was in on goal there. Alande has had his fair misses in terms of going 1v1 with the goalkeeper, but he makes no mistake here. And just like that, Miami take a 1-0 lead as we head into the second half. In the second half, Benteke was in on goal there, but he was absolutely robbed by Ustari on a 1v1. But then 2 minutes later, he would score here, as he scored from Cervania and Herrera to tie the game up at 1 apiece. Very Benteke goal from the header. You know how dangerous he is in the air, and apparently Miami doesn't get that memo. Messi then went beast mode here, but he was robbed by Barraza as he was denied able to deny him, push that one onto the post. Priani would then hit it right to his story in the 57th minute. The game was very open. Again, I think this is a common theme, at least what we've seen in some of these early games, or even in these early Saturday night game, where the game kind of was a little boring in the beginning, and then it really picked up as the game goes along. Barraza would then deny Alande on the doorstep of goal, but then it falls to Rodriguez, who somehow in some way missed that one from 6 yards out. Yeah, Rodriguez would want to have that one back. I mean, that was an absolute sitter from 6 yards out. That is just one of those ones where, as the old saying goes, it's harder to miss from that range than actually scoring. But in the 66th minute, the GOAT would strike here as he would score here from Alba to give Miami a 2-0 lead, and then a penalty was given, or a 2-1 lead. That is, it was 1-1 up to this point, but and then a penalty was given to Miami as they would be brought down by Barraza here. So here's a chance for Miami to put this one away. But then this was a very interesting decision because Messi, after missing the penalty in the last game, tried to do the Panenka that basically went wrong against Kalina. He decided to give this one up. He decided to give the youngster a chance to score his first career MLS goal. Now, I understand that, Messi, sometimes he can be a very, very unselfish person, and will definitely give some moments, especially to a youngster here. But I feel like this was not the right decision, especially with the way that, this game is still a one-goal game. I mean, if this was maybe like the 95th minute where Miami pretty much put this one in bed, I would have assume that would be the moment to do so, but not when it's like 2-1 and we still got about 19 minutes left in this one. So very odd decision that they decided to give a youngster a chance to score his first career MLS goal and do it from the spot. And yeah, it didn't go so well because Silvete would struck the post from the spot there. And yeah, this is why when you basically are giving a chance to take the penalty. I mean, it's a great moment for Silvete, a chance to finally score his first career MLS goal, but you just wonder where the pressure kind of got to him there. And now it feels like, is that moment gonna haunt Miami back because of the decision that they have. I mean, I know Messi did miss last week, but he's been, for the most part, been lethal in the penalty spot. And I think if he would have taken this one, most likely Miami would be 3-1 up, because now all of a sudden it's 2-1 and this is still in doubt. Segovia would then puts it over from close range, and then look like DC got themselves a penalty there, but VAR did check to see whether or not if Rodriguez brought down Antley outside the box. It was outside the box, so therefore no penalty was given. I said in the box here. That actually is wrong there. I meant outside the box, that is. Benteke then heads it right to a star in the 81st minute. DC was trying to steal this one late, trying to make Miami pay in terms of not putting this game away. But in the 85th minute, the GOAT himself would put this game away, as Messi would score from Busquets to give Miami a 3-1 lead. Just a vintage Messi goal as well. He just bent that one in the I wouldn't say bottom left, but kind of halfway between the bottom and the top left corner, that is. And then he was looking for his hat trick in the 89th minute, but he missed wide there. And that goal that Messi scored in the 85th turns out to be huge too, because DC does get a consolation goal late, as Jacob Merrill would score from Benteke and Zur here to give DC a goal back in this one, but it was a little bit too late for DC. They didn't really have any time to trying to pull off a miraculous comeback, as in the end, Miami does get the 3-2 win in this one. The shots in this one, 17 shots for the 10 that DC had, 6 shots on goal for the 7 that Miami has, 4 shots off target for the 2 that DC had, 2 shots off block for the 5 that Miami has, and possession-wise, 59% possession compared to 41% possession that DC has in this game. So overall, pretty comfortable win for Miami, even though the score line doesn't indicate that. But I think if there's one lesson that they'll probably learn, and maybe one lesson that Messi will learn, is he's maybe going to be a little bit more selfish next time in terms of not giving it to a youngster a chance to put the game on ice, especially in the second half. Now, moving on into the next game is Columbus and Toronto, and Columbus is in deep trouble. I've said this before with Columbus, with their struggle lately. Yes, they finally get their winless run come to an end, but they almost had the biggest meltdown we have ever seen in MLS history, blowing a 5-0 lead. And then in this game, in a game against Toronto, I know Toronto is a very tough team to play, and this felt like a very Toronto FC kind of game, a game that they're not gonna allow teams to have a lot of chances. They're gonna make the game boring, and for the most part, yeah, this was not one of those games would you say it was the most exciting game. But what's even more costly for Columbus, besides not getting the 3 points at home against a lowly Toronto side, The number 9 is injured, and I think a lot of Columbus fans are holding their breath now to see the severity of the injury of Abu Ali after this game. Now, in the first half, not much really happened to start this game. That all changed in the 16th minute when Abu Ali would score from Arston to give Columbus a 1-0 lead. We then go for another period where not much really happened. The shots were only 2-0 30 minutes in, so it was not a very entertaining game as I expected. But yeah, this is when I mentioned this is where Columbus fans are holding their breath. Abu Ali had to be subbed off here. It looks like he injured his knee there, so Ali replaced him there as well. Don't know exactly how the severity of the injury is, but it did not look pretty. I'll just say that. Gastag would then miss wide from close in the 33rd minute, but we do head to halftime with Columbus leading 1-0. That lead would quickly disappear in the second half, as in the 51st minute, on what was the first shot of the game for Toronto. Yes, Toronto didn't have a single shot in the first half, but on the first shot for TFC, it's in the back of net as Richie Larea would score from Osorio and Etienne to give TFC the equalizer. So this must be one of the few times where we see a team didn't have a single shot in the first half, but they have one shot, and next thing you know, they tied the game up. I mean, it doesn't happen very often, but TFC would gladly take that. Corbinu did look to try to get another, trying to give the lead for TFC, but he was denied by Schulte before Arston would miss wide from close range, and then he crossed it wide from close in the 78th minute. For the first time tonight, there was a little bit of sustained pressure for Columbus. Again, they really haven't had a lot of success in this one going for in the attack, mainly because, again, Toronto is kind of a team that will frustrate opposition because of the setup that Robin Fraser has. It's a very low block kind of setup. They make the game very boring for the people to watch. But hey, just because it's boring, it doesn't mean that it's not getting resort. And so far this season, they've been getting a lot of resort despite playing this boring brand of soccer. In the 90th minute, Rosted would head it right to Schulte before Gavron would deny Herrera from close range in the fifth minute stoppage time. And yeah, in the end, it ends in a 1-1 draw on this one. Shots in this one, surprisingly, that was double-digit shot. I mean, with how boring this game was, I'm surprised one team was able to reach double-digit shot. But 12 shots compared to 4 that TFC had. 2 shots on goal for the 3 that Toronto has. No shot off target compared to 3 that Columbus had. 1 shot that was blocked for the 7 that Columbus had. And possession-wise, 52% possession compared to 48% possession that TFC has in this game. And like I said, for Columbus, they are in deep trouble because this is a team that look in no shape in terms of making a playoff run. This looked like a team that has one and done written all over it. And what's even worse is, like I said, the severity of the Abu Ali injury. If that injury is bad and he's maybe going to be out for an extended time, or God forbid, he might be done for the season. Columbus is screwed. I mean, there's there's a reason why they bought in Abu Ali, and I think he has definitely lived up to his end of the bargain by scoring these goals ever since he come in. He's been kind of been a very good Cucho replacement that they have, but now with him setting this injury setback and not a lot of Columbus players really stepping up on the attacking end, like I said, this could be a one and done in the playoffs for the second year in a row. And that was not what I expected with this team. I mean, with how good they were in the middle of the season, I thought Columbus was going to get themselves back into the Eastern Conference playoff race and being a contender once again, but it has really fell apart for them ever since the Leagues Cup is over. You get a team that things are kind of starting to fall apart. Yeah, let's just say it's been tough being a Loons fan these last couple of days. I mean, for me going to Minnesota, seeing them suffering probably the second most painful loss in club history. I will say that the Seattle loss against Minnesota in that Western Conference final, that will always haunt me. No matter what, I would say that is good. That was probably the most painful loss. The one on Wednesday, I would say it's second because of the way that they were just seconds away to go to PK, only to concede seeded late. And, coming into this game, I didn't have a lot of expectation coming into this one because, that loss in the semifinal, that was the worst case scenario for Minnesota. I mean, to lose it like that and the fact that they played pretty much all their starters for 120 minutes, I knew that coming into this game, Eric Ramsey had to play some of his reserve player, and he pretty much was forced to do so. And while this makeshift team at times looked decent, especially on the attacking end, man, oh man, it was rough seeing on the defensive end. I mean, on the defensive end, this was probably one, if not the worst defensive display that the Loons have had at home. Probably right up there in terms of the San Diego game where they gave up 4 goals at home in this one. And again, with the way that, speaking of injuries, talk about Columbus losing their number nine. Minnesota might have lost their number nine, or actually not might have. It's not might. They have lost their number nine for the rest of the season with Yoboa done for the season, and also Hart be done for the season as well, one of their best defender. Yeah, things are kind of starting to fall apart for this team, and it's such a shame too because what a promising season it's been for this team. By far the best season this team has had in the regular season, and it could be heading to a one and done once again. Now in the first half, Jin would hits one right to Brady before Dane Sinclair denied Kuipers in the near post. Duggan would then heads it wide from close range before Dane Sinclair denied Bomba, but it fall right to Dean, who shot was deflected away. And while the makeshift attack was looking very decent, I really liked some of the new signing who got a chance. Mamadou Dia and Dominic Fitz, both of them getting the start in this one. I thought they played very well. I thought Dien seems like he's the prototype Tiny Oloshai player that I envision, and with more minutes, I think he's going to definitely build up to that part. And while the attack I thought was good, the defense was not. I mean, the back line was all over the place throughout this game, and Dane Sinclair had to make a couple of big save at time. Romero would then hits it high from the corner before Elliott puts it wide in the back post, but then the 27th minute, Chicago takes the lead as Joel Waterman would score his first goal for the Chicago Fire to give the Fire a 1-0 lead. And Dane Sinclair, he did try to make the save here, but unfortunately, he did give up a rebound. And yeah, there was Waterman there to try to clean up the mess. Yeah, Dane Sinclair has had his inconsistency, and that's the thing about Dane Sinclair throughout his time with Minnesota. As much as I know he's a great goalkeeper, he has had some very inconsistent kind of performance. Have these kind of games where, yeah, you just kind of question how in the world is he considered to be a goalkeeper of the year this year with some of the mistakes that he's been making. The stand a shout for a penalty for Chicago not giving in the 33rd minute. Minnesota was all over the place at the back, and that would be a feat pretty much for the entire game. Chicago was running riot against this Minnesota back line. Dane Sinclair then denied Bomba from close range, but then the 42nd minute, Davila would score from Franco to give Chicago a 2-0 lead. That came out of a set piece. Not great defending whatsoever from the Loons on the set piece. Dien did look to answer, but he heads it wide in the 43rd minute before Zikanago who puts it wide from close range in the 45th minute. But we do head to halftime with Chicago leading 2-0 in this one. In the second half, Jin would heads it wide from the corner before Romero would miss wide from long range in the 55th minute. Again, Minnesota had some set piece opportunity. It feels like this was just like the U.S. Open Cup where Chicago was given set piece opportunity for Minnesota, and most of the time Minnesota has been very good this season on the set piece, but this game was not the case. And just like the last game too in the U.S. Open Cup against Chicago, they weren't doing well on set piece opportunity. But at the same time, I thought it was a promising start for the Loons. But the question is, can they be a little bit cleaner in the final third? I mean, as much as I said that the attack was good, there were times in the final third it was a little bit shaky at time. They also decided to finally bring in the cavalry in this one. I mean, I can understand then why Eric Ramsey didn't want to change at halftime. I know there was a lot of Loons fans with telling Eric Ramsey to completely switch the team, but with the way that it feels like this is already a lost cause. Like when it was 2-0 at halftime, I just feel like, yeah, it's a lost cause in this one. There's really no need to play the starters, or at least give the starter a lot of minutes. Consider they play a lot during the middle of the week. Just rest them for this week so they can stay fresh in the next one. And they did bring some starters in this one. Boxall, Pereira, Longwane, and Lud was coming into this one. Didn't really make a huge difference because Chicago was still doing well. And again, I just also have a feeling that bring those guys in. Even at that time, I feel it was kind of questionable because you can clearly see the fatigueness. Even with the limited minutes some of those starters were in, they look really tired coming into this one after playing 120 minutes over the middle of the week. Bamba would then hits it right to Dane Sinclair, and then Deanne looked like he scored his first MLS goal for Minnesota. Problem was he was offside, and he was not offside by that much. I mean, it was very very close. Would have been a great moment for the youngster to open his account as a Loons player, but in the 70th minute, Ziganaga would score to make it 3-0 for the Fire, as he scored from Goodman to make it 3-0, because of course Phil Ziganaga was going to have a say in this one. He's been having an incredible season for the Chicago Fire, definitely in the MVP conversation, and it's also in that play no defending whatsoever from the Loons. That pretty much was kind of theme in this one. Rosales then looked to answer, but he hits it right to Brady, who did kind of spill this one, but Chris Brady had some little shaky moments in this one in terms of spilling some chances that was coming his way, but luckily wasn't really punished with those spillage. Haile Selassie would then look like he put the ball into the back net. Problem was he suffered the same fate as Mamadou Dieng. He was in an offside position, and this time it was pretty obvious that he was in an offside position. It wasn't as close as the Dion offside that is. But in the 84th minute, Pereira would puts one right to Brady before a penalty was given to the Fire as Boxo brought down Gutierrez in the box. So it's not a great night when Michael Boxo was making mistake as well. It was just a bad night all around for the Loons. And here comes Kuiper's a chance to make it 4-0. Usually he's a surefire thing from the spot, but here Dane Sinclair says no. He denied him from the spot here. I'm kind of surprised that Dane Sinclair was able to make the save. I mean, I know Dane Sinclair has been a good PK stopper in the past, but this season really he's been way off in terms of being penalty kick stopper. But that being said, this was one that, yeah, for Hugo Kuipers, he would want this one back. This was not a great penalty whatsoever. He didn't really hit it near the corner, and Dane Sinclair kind of read it all the way. And yeah, on a night where this was probably one of the most miserable night as a Loons fan, both at home watching this one and also in the stands. I feel bad for all the folks that attended this one. I also feel bad for all the folks that attend the semifinal as well, including myself, because yeah, it just feels like this is starting to become very Minnesota on brand. Where what the cliche about Minnesota team is that whenever they have a good season, just as you had hoped that things were gonna go well, and then something happened to quickly turn south, and next thing you know, it's another first round exit. I mean, just as the Vikings and the Wild in terms of how that's been going for them in terms of Minnesota disappointment. But nevertheless, Chicago does get the 3-0 win. The shots in this one, 18 shots for the 12 that Minnesota has, 9 shots on goal for the 4 that Minnesota has, 5 shots off target for the 2 that Chicago has, 5 shots off block for the 1 that Minnesota has, and possession-wise, 54% or 59% possession compared to 41% possession that Minnesota has in this game. And I know I'm gonna get ridiculed by saying this, and I really apologize to Chicago Fire fans in advance because I feel like this is gonna be a jinx. But I'm just gonna say this and said that I feel like it's gonna finally end. I feel like the Chicago Fire, for the first time since 2017, is going to make the playoffs. I feel like with the way that they've been playing, and usually this is the time when the Fire just fall apart. I just don't think this is gonna happen. I mean, they've been playing very good brand of soccer. It feels like Greg Berhalter has finally imprinted that belief on this team that they're not gonna fall apart. This is not gonna be like the Chicago Fire of the past where they're gonna fall apart and crater, and next thing you know they miss out on the playoffs. And like I said, I apologize to Fire fans in advance. I know Fire fans are probably gonna be in the comments. They're gonna be telling me to shut the hell up in terms of making these claims because I'm pretty sure longtime Fire fans know how this story has been. Even if there's a glimmer of hope, next thing you know, everything just fall apart. But yeah, it just feels like this season is different. I feel like they're definitely on the verge of doing so. They can continue to win these games like that, and not to mention again, even though they have a 2-point lead, they have a game in hand over the Red Bulls. If they win that game in hand, and all of a sudden that gap turns to 5 with so little game left, you got to say that it feels like they can finally end the streak. And I'm proud that that is the case. I mean, as a person that's been covering MLS and been covering this on my channel since 2018, the Chicago Fire, as I mentioned many times before, is the last team to not make it to the playoffs, going back to 2018 in terms of the teams that is. Obviously, that does not include some of the most recent expansion team, and even in the most recent expansion team, I mean, these recent expansion team besides San Diego, though San Diego's going to make the playoffs this year. Even the most recent expansion team have made it to the playoffs more than the Chicago Fire has ever since I started covering MLS on this channel in 2018. And again, I'm proud to see that the streak has finally about to come to an end, and now I'm gonna pretty much shut the hell up because I'm pretty sure now Fire fans are gonna be very angry at if the self destruction will start after this game. But either way, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. As always, let me know in the comments below what do you think of these game and also the other game on the other for it as well. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.